Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dylarr's Tactics. So, I like my tier list videos. They're usually my most popular. I tend to try to do them every month because, as a mobile game, it's a live service game. It changes, it morphs. We get new heroes I think it's going to look like it's every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks we're going to get a new hero. Maybe. Don't know that yet, but... So this is going to be my tier list video for King Arthur Legends Rise. The best tier list I'd say I've seen so far would have to be Troll Gaming's. I thought theirs was the most extensive. You can go check out their video and look at their tier list. He definitely has a lot more in-depth information about this game than I do. But I'm going to give you my tier list. So strap in because these videos usually go for a little while. Usually I push about a good old 40 minutes on these puppies. Okay, so let's pull it up right now. And how this works is I basically just throw the list out there as with all of the heroes already on the tier list, and then I talk about them because there's so many caveats to each hero in this game. There's so many relics. And you're not going to agree with me on everything. That is fine. You can tell me how I'm wrong in the comment section. And I very well, I'm expecting to be wrong in multiple cases. But this is my opinion with my experience of the game playing for 35, 36 days. So let's pull it up. Here we go. Now, I'm going to get rid of my head right now because I know some people like to screenshot this stuff so that you don't have to keep coming back to this video. So I'm just going to get rid of my head. And while I'm kind of talking here, go ahead and screenshot this if you want. But you're going to be missing all of the discussion. Okay, 3, 2, 1, here we go. I am coming back. There I am. All right. So now let's dive in. So let's start at the bottom because I originally had this list like SSS, S tier, good, just okay. I think this said meh or something. Oh no, this said niche. Where it says dungeons, it said niche. And then I was thinking, well, niche really, when I was allocating tunes, it really means they're using a dungeon. So I'm just going to call it dungeon tunes. And then arena, and then don't know. Don't know, which means I have no experience with this character in that relic or that character in general. So we're going to start down here in the don't know. Because I think this character's name is Adalai? I think so. I'm probably butchering that, but I haven't done any testing. The only place that I've seen her used, and I got mine at C8, the only place I've seen her used is from bot teams in Arena. And her thing is that she's a healer, but she polymorphs. So she's kind of a control. I think she is control. No, she's a support, controller / healer. But if you were looking for control, you're going to get it in better places like, Ice Lance, any of the Morgans, either Florentius or Sergius. There's just so many different better, or Merlin, Ice Merlin. There's so many better control characters and so many better healers that do healing. I don't know why you'd want to use her outside of maybe like a story mission or a forbidden dungeon floor where you have to really, it's all about controlling the mobs and making sure they never go. So for now, I'm going to put her in the don't know. I wouldn't recommend, for how specific she probably is, I really wouldn't recommend putting a whole lot of development resources and time into. Now, Guinevere, I somehow, when I was going through my heroes, I stumbled upon, hey, I got Guinevere Flame Relic somehow. And I have no idea. But I don't know any reason why. Since she's such a specific hero already, why would I want to develop and put a bunch of resources into her Fire Relic when her Wind Relic works perfectly fine? And we'll discuss her with her Wind Relic elsewhere. But that's why I just have her in don't know, because I don't have that relic leveled up. I haven't seen any videos saying that the wind or the fire relic is awesome, so I just have her put there. And yes, there are lots of heroes that are missing on this list, and I will discuss why at the end, because they're on this page. You just can't see them. So now we're getting into arena specific. So Urians and Gareth, I have seen some arena teams where they are extremely annoying. Gareth, she can lock people down. She's a control type character. It's annoying because she basically shoots out her chains and shackles units. So if you can build her very, very fast, you can get that shackle off. It can disrupt the flow of an arena fight and maybe make it go in your favor. But again, she's a rare. Do you really want to put a whole bunch of effort into her just for arena? And that specifically is with her wind weapon. When I was looking at her relics, her wind relic did seem the best out of the 3. So if I'm only going to use her for arena in her wind relic, I didn't feel a need to put her other relics on this sheet. As well, Urians. The reason why he's in his fire relic is because his S2 basically puts up his counterattack. And I've seen him built really beefy, like a lot, like full 6-star, lots of awakenings. He can hit really freaking hard, but he also hurts himself. So I think how you would want to build him, and I could be wrong, is you'd want to build him slow, but with just huge attack values. So like an attack ring, an attack orb. I guess, is there an attack orb? I don't think there is an attack orb. But you get you get the gist. Probably hit accuracy orb, actually. But other than his little counterattack, kind of real niche use case, you might, as a new player, if you get him, might want to put him on arena team, but you're likely not. Like, if we're being honest, you're likely not going to put him on an arena team. But that's the only place I've seen him, so that's why this is the only place you're going to see him on my tier list. Now, Florentius. Okay, so Florentius in his wind relic isn't that great because you really want to alternate his S2 and S3. I do believe it's you want to do S2, then S3, then S2, then... like, because his S2 in wind, it doesn't do any attacks. If I had him in ice, I would probably remove the wind from here and put him in ice in arena, because at least in his ice relic, his S2 is an AoE attack, so at least he's attacking everybody. You could set him in a vigor set and have him go S3, S2, so because you're eventually going to run out of an instance where you are going to have enough vigor, so he will kind of naturally, on automatic, fluctuate between his S2 and S3. But other than that, his heal, he does apply a heal block like Akalan, but it's so specific because he's every time he applies it, and then he applies it to himself, and then the next turn he removes it and applies it again. It's wonky, but I have been wrecked. He does have some attack gauge manipulation in his kit too. I have been wrecked by a really beefy Florentius in arena. It's just like, what happened? Like, where'd my team go? So he does have a place, but I would only say his place is arena for now. Once I get, say, his ice relic, I might try him, or I might try testing him in Frozen Plain. But the thing is you don't need him for Frozen Plain. You can do Frozen Plain 10 without him. So is he worth the cost? Because we all know that stamina, gold, diamonds is an issue for free to play. So, and plus it's going to take you forever to get him because he's an arena shop only hero. And I would recommend 1,000,000 times over going for a few copies of Sergius out of the arena shop before you even touch Florentius. Which is why he is way down here on arena specific for now. Lot. If you noticed my hero guide on Lot on my spreadsheet, I haven't made a video on him yet. His ice relic looks like it's made for PvP. It is all about buffing his allies, controlling his enemies. And I have seen some really beefy lots also just lock my entire team down in arena. Again, it is cool to watch. So other than there is a fight also in Forbidden Dungeon that comes up. I do believe it's called the 4 Shaman fight. We'll say Shaman. I don't know. Shaman? I've seen him be required for that fight. So very, very niche. But I also think that if you built him, like, if you just got nothing but lots pulled, okay, now he's going on an arena team. But I do believe you need up to his C4, his Chivalry 4, to really get the most out of him. So because of his limited uses, that's why he's also just on an arena team. Gawain. I've seen a lot of tier lists that put him a lot higher, but usually in other content, you're running a Morgan. Morgan wants the weather to be night. Well, Gawain, he's one of those characters where you also have to alternate. You have to do his S3 first, then do his S2, which makes it hard to run him anywhere on auto. But he's also got a lot of PvP specific capabilities or abilities in his kit. Like he is immune to abnormal status effects, which you're trying to put on the enemy team. So, and he can hit hard. He is an attacker, but he's kind of like Lot, whereas if you just get him pulled to you over and over and over again, maybe cool. You can build him into an arena team hero. Other than that, you're going to use him in favor dungeon. Lot 2, you're going to use him in favor dungeon. And that's it. So that's why they're down here. Now, Rosie Wind. Okay. Everyone, you've seen a million videos of people singing praises for Rosie Fire for just being an ungodly damage dealer if you don't have Bedivere. Second to him, and maybe second to the new Iwaret. Rosie's a cool. She is on the top of all damage tier lists. If someone was going to make just a pure damage tier list. So Wind, the reason why Wind I have her in here for PvP is because on her S3, instead of a one-time 5-hitter or a one single target 5-hitter, it is an AoE multi-hitter. And a lot of people like to run Lancelot in lead in arena because he's a speed lead, and a lot of most of arena is about whose Morgan goes first to push back the other team's turn meter. So once you get up to higher arenas, you either have to have a blisteringly fast Morgan to not run a speed lead, or you have to run Lancelot, who has a speed lead, or Rosie. The thing that why people want to run Rosie is that Rosie has that big, huge nuking AoE. You're gonna see it at some point. She spreads out. It looks like she reaches towards the ground, spreads out towards your whole team, and you just lose a third to a half of your health bar. But that's her Wind relic where you're gonna get that AoE, and that's the only place I would recommend using Wind. Otherwise, you're only gonna use her in her fire for single target bosses, and she's good at that too. You're gonna see she's way up on this list. So this category is specifically either very, very niche, but more specifically, arena-focused only. So now we're going to get into these dungeon heroes. We're going to start at the end here because really, you don't need the vast majority of these heroes once you get a hero that does what they do, but much better, or once you get your heroes up to a specific development where it renders their use case completely moot. So I can't remember this shark guy's name, but he's got a big old conch that he blows out of. His whole thing is that he has got, I do believe it's an AoE mark. He's got a lot of mark capabilities in his kit. So I have seen some free-to-play recommendations if you get him to run him with, say, Sigrun, or if you don't have Sigrun, to run him in the Red Dragon dungeon as a mark hero. Now, we do have 2 other mark heroes in the game now with the introduction of Irwit, so it has even pushed his use case further away. But I just want to give you the information that really, if you were completely free to play starting today and you didn't have any legendary characters and you did have him, you could build him theoretically for Fire Dungeon or Red Dragon Dungeon. And now this guy, Bod, we're just going to call him Bob. So Bob, I would recommend watching Stu Gaming's video on Tarask 10, and I do believe it was Arcelus, one of the dragons, one of the 2 dragons that's not fire. It was either ice or wind. I think it was wind. I think it was Arcelus. So if you pair Bob Firebob, it has to be Firebob. He doesn't come in fire. If you pair Firebob with Dylarr, so what Firebob's thing is he does an AoE accuracy up buff. Now, Dylarr gives himself an accuracy up, but if Dylarr gets 2 accuracy ups, then, and only if you have his passive 2 maxed, then he gives the entire team 60% attack gauge charge. So there is a use case where you could use him paired with Dylarr in those dungeons to create a turn meter loop to beat them. Again, I would recommend going to check out Stu Gaming's video on, I don't know how he has it labeled, but you'll have to look for it. It's on Tarask 10, or it's maybe just has a picture of this guy's face. But the thing is, you got to build up 2 commons. You got to build up him and him to do what up here, Fire Sergius, what Fire Sergius can do in 1 hero. So I wouldn't recommend this. I'm just telling you guys it is an option. But it does require like passives maxed, top-notch gear. It requires high development, and it's really, if I'm being honest, it's not worth it, but I'm showing it to you anyway. Bodwin. Bodwin's on here because if you don't have Guinevere, you're going to basically be forced to develop your Bodwin for Cromcrotch battles. The Crotch battles, meaning story mode 10-7, normal, hell, and hard, and in the Master of the Apocalypse. He does what Gwen does, just not as good. He does not keep your whole team up. I think he only lets 2 of your team members not get eaten. And I prefer the wind weapon because it's just better. Don't ask me why. I just remember looking at him and thinking, that would be a whole lot better than the other 2. So that's why Bodwin is down here. Now, Arthur. Arthur is only making this list mainly because he is the face of this game. The only way that you're going to want to use Arthur is if you're going to get his wind relic doing the story mode. I can't remember if it's chapter 3, chapter 4, but you're going to get it as a gimme prize. I know how I think I got Guinevere's red from story mode 10. That's how I got her relic. Yeah. I think that's how. I'm pretty sure that's how. So, but Arthur, if the stars align, if you develop him, to see Chivalry 8, if you max his 3rd passive, if you build him up to God tier levels and stellar gear, then, and I did make a video on this, you can run him with, I do believe, K to beat Aldry 7, Frozen Plain 7. That's the only place you're really going to want to use him because his wind weapon has some really good anti-frost synergies. And wind is strong against frost. So I do have a video out there. It is my guide to Aldry, or my how to beat Aldry. There is a use case for your Arthur 7. Yes, if you really like him, you can work on him. He can do you wonders. But not really. No, not really. But if you don't have a Bedivere, then you can throw him in to beat Aldry 7 until you do have a Bedivere. Okay? Now, Alan, he does not come as fire, but this guy, until you get Claudius, Alan has an AoE attack gauge reduction on his his S2. So you can put him in a Vigor kit, which means it's basically free to use every turn. And you can use Alan in your Tarask team all the way up to, and I do believe I was clearing 8. And the only reason why I wasn't clearing 9 with him is because you see mine's only 5-star. He was just getting 1 shot in 9, which is why I couldn't use him. But, if you really need those, and you do really need those relic advancement materials, or those relic awakening materials from Tarask, you can run Alan lead, because I think it does give hit accuracy as well as his lead. And then you can run, you need Alan, Morgan. I was running Alan, Morgan, Jillian, fire, and then I was running Tristan, just doing his S1. to put attack gauge down on him, and that was enough to get me, or that couldn't be enough to get you all the way to Tarrasque 8 or 9, even maybe 10 if you really put a whole lot of development into your units. But as soon as you get Claudus, who is right here, Claudus the archer, she's basically Alan on female steroids. She can just do everything he can do, but way better and do a lot more damage doing it. So Alan, he is niche specific for a dungeon, which is why he's on this list. Ban is also, he's the same as Alan. Ban has on his S3 has a really good attack gauge reduction ability that you can use in Tarrasque. I also have him showcased on my free to play Tarrasque 7 team. And in fact, I think it was Alan. I think I was running Alan, Morgan, Ban, and Sarah. Sarah, that's who it was. Yeah, that's the free-to-play team. Go check out that video. So that's why Ban does have a place on here. He doesn't come on his Wind Relic, though, so you're going to have to pick up his Wind Relic along the way. Fire did not have the attack gauge reduction, I do believe, on the proper skill, which made it not ideal for Tarrasque. I'd have to read the kit off, and I'm not going to do that because this video is already going to be 40 minutes long. It's 21 minutes long, and we're only on column 3. So let me speed this up. Isolde, Ice. She is going to be part of your free-to-play Gorgos team for farming Gorgos. You're going to put her on a Vigor set with her S1. She's going to do all sorts of good things for you in Gorgos. And you're going to pair her with Dylarr in Ice. Dylarr is also a key because he's a buff. He's a dot dispeller, and he gives attack gauge up 40 to 60 depending on your passive development to your whole team. He's going to be on your Gorgos team. Akalan, you're going to be your primary applier of heal block on Aldri all the way up until Aldri 10. Akalan is just going to be in that dungeon team forever. That's his only use case. Anguish, same thing as Akalan. He's going and Akalan's going to be your lead for that Aldri team, that Frozen Plain team. Anguish is going to be your lead for your Gorgos team. He's the dot applying specialist. He's going to apply so many dots with Rosie and Dylarr and Isolde. You're going to just breeze through Gorgos. He's going to take 2 turns and he's going to die. And that's really going to be the only place you're going to use him. Although I did see Odd One Gaming used him because he's got a 5-hitter on his S3 in a Penvid 10 team too. So you can use him in Penvid 2 as well. Now we go up into the just okay, or I should say just they're okay. This one's going to be contentious because I know a lot of people really love Frederick. The thing is you need Frederick. The reason why is because I think Ice does not have a heal on his S2. And one of his passives, or no, it's not his passive, it's his C8. His C8 makes it so whenever he heals, he gives attack up buff to his allies. So you could pair him with like Bedivere or another high attacker just to become a nuker. So he will heal, do an AoE heal on his S2, but only if you have him C8. He'll do an AoE heal, and he will give you an attack buff, which can be very, very good. You can pull out some insane numbers with Frederick. So I debated whether or not I should put him up here in good or just okay, but I moved him into just okay because really that's his only role. But you could use him in an arena team. You can use him in a story mission team. I know one person, I don't know if they watch my videos, but they use him to clear level 10 dungeons. But you have to have your whole team built out really well. So that's why I have him in just okay or okay. Sigrun, again, this one's people are going to find contentious. Sigrun, I've seen her used really well in arena teams. She is going to be primarily used by the majority of you in the Fire Dragon team because she's a Mark unit. She's a good unit, she's an okay unit, but I can't put her as good because she is somewhat niche, but she's somewhat good, so she's just okay. I did have Guinevere, so I don't have her as a dungeon hero because you can put her in an arena team too. She becomes very annoying given her invincibility status when she hits below 40 to 30% HP. She can make it so it's harder to farm your arena team on defense, but she's also mandatory in crotch battles. So she is a better version of Bodwin. You've seen, I've made that video. You guys can watch it on how to beat Crom Crotch. So that's why I have her as okay. I would never call her good. I would never say she's only used for a dungeon, which means she's just okay. Cloudus, again, she's kind of the same as Guinevere. You can build her in like attack sets because her S2 is an AoE attack gauge reduction. You can use her in a team on your arena team to basically just make the other team not go. I have seen some good uses of her in an arena team, not high-level arena teams, but arena teams, and you will need her. She is, in my opinion, not required, but if you get her, it basically makes Tarask 10 easy but you have to have Sergius's Fire Relic. I don't have a video on that yet. I'm planning on making videos for all my my level 10 teams that aren't free-to-play teams. Those videos are coming, but she's definitely, she's not good. She's got limited uses. She's not specific to dungeons, though, so just like Guinevere and Sigrun, I'm going to put her as just okay. And she comes in fire. You want her in fire. Tristan is, you're going to get given him by the game right away. I think it's chapter 2. And you're going to use him everywhere in the beginning of the game because he's a really good single target damage dealer. He's got a lot of cool stuff in his kit. He's really, really fast. He applies attack gauge reduction. You're going to use him to beat like Cinnamon, Cernonos. You're going to use him a lot of places, but then eventually the only place that you're actually going to use him is in his favor dungeon and in a Penvid team because he's built around speed. He's a speed-based character, and he's got anti-protection in his kit. So, again, like the other people in this column, he's not specific only to dungeons, but I wouldn't call him good by any means because he's not, you can't use him in multiple places. Now we get into the top 3 columns where we're getting into the creme de la creme of the heroes in this game. So let's start with Clementine. A lot of people love Clementine because she's got attack gauge reduction and she's a healer. But if I'm being honest, I tried to make her work in high-end, like I'm talking 7 and 8 Tarask teams because of her attack gauge reduction. Not working. But I put her up here because I think if I put her as just okay, which, she probably should be, and I think I'm going to. Because if Frederick's not good, I don't think Clementine's good. In fact, we're going to do that right now. Sorry. And I'm actually going to put her there. Why? Because, there we go. Whoa. Sorry, my music's going crazy. Yep, sorry, she's going there. Because since it's an S3 that you're using her for, she's pulling the vigor away from the important tunes, the important heroes, in my opinion. So, Clementine, she's got uses, but I don't know. I almost want to put her somewhere down here with Ban, to tell you the honest truth, because there's heroes that do her job better. That's just it. There's just heroes that do her job better. Sarah. Okay, Sarah. I slept on Sarah. Sarah is actually amazing because she's got a buff block on her S1. On her S1. That alone is amazing because you can put her in a vigor set. She's going to generate 2 vigor, but only ever use 1. So she's a vigor battery for your whole team. I use her endgame in my Red Dragon team. I use her endgame in my Tarask team. Tarask 10, Red Dragon 10. For Red Dragon, I have her in Ice, which is why I have Ice up here. And then in Tarask, I have her in her Wind. You'd probably want to run her in her Fire for Tarask. Her S1 buff block is on her passive, so it doesn't matter what relic you use. But she's going to heal and attack off her S1 a little bit. And if you're putting her in Tarask, Fire's going to do a little bit more damage to Tarask. So you could really have all 3 up here. But I think the ones you're going to use most often is probably, if you have them developed, Fire and Ice. She comes, I do believe, in Wind, which is why I have Wind more developed. And then I just developed it. And it works just fine for getting Tarask 10 down. It would just, if you had her in her Fire, it would make it a little, like incrementally faster. But Sarah with that buff block on S1, That's pure money, baby. Like she's just so good. And hence she's in the good column. Turin, where's my mouse? There's my mouse. Turin comes in wind. Turin is the healer's healer. She is like probably the best straight healer in the game. Huge AoE heal on her S3. She adds hots on her S2 plus so many buffs. Turin's just really good, and she's in my Aldry 10 team today. And you can go check out Stu Gaming's video. He runs Sarah and Turin in his Fire Dragon 10 team. But they're not needed. I'll make a video on why they're not needed. But once you get your Bedivere like to ungodly gear and development levels, it makes it so your requirement to run a healer with Sarah on Fire Dragon, he just nukes them down so fast that it doesn't matter. You don't need to worry about the heals. But until you get an ungodly damage dealer built up, then to beat Fire Dragon 7, the easiest, I think you need both Turin and Sarah. But Turin, even aside from that, she's still on my Aldry 10 team. And she's just such a good healer. And I think I give her a little bit of a higher status because you get given her on day 1 playing this game, so that all you free to play are going to have her for a while until you start to get like Gillian. And as soon as you get Gillian, then you start phasing Turin out of your teams. But she's definitely still has a place, so she's definitely still good. Now, I know this Iwaret. You know, there's been a million videos I've seen him say he's got ungodly damage, and he's a Mark hero. And yes, he does do really good damage. So maybe I'll put him up here in S tier. But you know, if you're looking at him, given all of his Mark mechanics, again, once you get a team up to a certain development, you don't even have to worry about Mark to kill Red Dragon. You just ignore it completely. It's a non-issue. It's a non-thing. Which kind of lessens his viability. Now, if you didn't have Bedivere, I would say, and you just got him, and you never got Bedivere, then I think that maybe I would have to put him up higher. So, yes, I think maybe I would. I think maybe I will have to put him up higher. But all of these are going to be very contentious. A lot of people are going to be like, nope, they should be in S tier. Or yeah, no. Like, I think there's a case for S tier for all these 4. But for now, we're just going to put him here because he does good damage, but he requires a lot of setup and he requires a lot of manual. And you get him in his Ice Relic, and his Ice Relic, his S2 doesn't do anything but buff himself, which, you know, requiring your S3 to do all your main damage, and since your S2, it reduces some of his viability. So for now, until I see more, he's just stuck here. Sergius Wind. So you're going to get Sergius and Sergius Wind, and he is going to elevate some teams, namely Tarask teams. Until you get Fire, Sergius Wind, given that he does focus target on the boss or on whoever hits an ally. What does that do? Well, if you hit somebody with focus target, it strips buffs, which is nice. So he's a buff stripper. And then if they have focus target, he reduces their attack gauge when he hits them on his S3. So he's an attack gauge reducer. He does decent damage on his S3 if you get all your skill ups into his S3. His focus target has some nice mechanics. I've seen him in arena a lot. You know, he does a lot of. He's a jack of all trades, but a master of none, really. So he just, for now, since he can be used in so many places, I used him in so many story hell missions. Like he's definitely good, but I would not give him any elevation higher than good. Ain or Annie. Ain. I think it's Ain. I think it's Ain. Annie. Okay. She can do a lot, but the thing is, she can do so many good things when she's maxed, right? And because of that, she's kind of like Sergius. She's definitely, she can do good at damage if you got her set up right. She's a monstrous team buffer. She can be really good in PvP. She can block abnormal status. She can remove dots. She can put up counterattack. She can put up attack up, or no, she can actually put crit damage up on your attackers. There's definitely a case to put her in S tier. But at this time, I think that given her Jack of all trades, Master of none status, kind of like Sergius Wind, she's just going to stay in good for now. But again, I understand if you could make a case for her being higher. I can get it, but this is my video, my list. And that's where she's staying for my list. Now, Clarissa. So many people hate Clarissa. I see it all the time. I pulled Clarissa, but she sucks. Everyone says she sucks. She doesn't... Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I am in Master 1. Here, let's let me show you. Let me show you what I'm doing. Let me show you. Let's close this. Let's show you really quick. Until you get her C3. So I was clearing Hell chapters today with some bonus stamina, right? So I'm up to Hell 6. So what is this? Requires Storm. Let's not do that one. Let's just run this really quick. This is going to be my best way that I can show you why she's good. Okay, Fire. Here we go. We'll do this. So here's the team I was using. No healer. This is chapter 6 Hell. Level 120 opponents. Why she's so good is because she at C3, her S2 gives crit damage up and charges attack gauge. So her paired with Fire Sergius, paired with Morgan, paired with Betty is amazing. And she is on my arena team for her ability to give Betty crit damage up. Because Betty at C8 needs crit damage up to go super nuke. Like Super Saiyan nuke. Alright, we're only going to go one because I don't want to waste all my stamina. But let's just show you quick. Because this is, I could explain this to you, but until you see it happen, you're not going to get it. Okay, so let's just target Fire. Boom. So what she did, in case you missed it there, was she went, did an AoE attack. She gave... So Betty still has his crit damage up. And whenever somebody attacks, when Betty has crit damage up, more damage also gets applied to the opposite team. And she can do decent damage on her own. So watch me lose this now because everyone focuses Morgan. And Betty gets stunned. And Morgan's not doing her C2, which is not good for my team. Okay, come on, Sergius, save my butt. Here we go. All right. Merely, why is she only doing her S1? See, this should be the Sergius. So this is also going to highlight why Sergius Fire is so good. All right, so do something. Yeah, kill him. Now his Strife set's going to kick. He just killed another one. If he would have been targeting the cat, he would have killed the cat too. All right, now the cat's got increased damage taken or decreased defense. And smack him, boom. Smack him, boom. You guys get the point. All right, so let's hurry it up, guys. Come on. We're making a video here. Betty, kill him. That's a beefy boy. But this is, again, this is Hell Stage 6. No healer. No healer. Come on, Betty. Finish him off. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Okay. That is why people are sleeping on Clarissa. Go back. Rewind that. Watch that opening move where she gives everyone the attack meter or attack gauge and crit damage up. It's beautiful. It's just a sight to behold. And my Clarissa is not, you know, super geared. She's not super geared. But that's why I got her up so high. Because I use her in Arena. I use her in Favor Dungeon. I use her in... I don't use her in Dungeons, but I've heard people doing that trick. I've heard there is a team out there that is Betty, Morgan, Clarissa, and Frederick. Because where Clarissa gives crit damage up, Frederick gives attack up. Kind of does the same thing. But the reason why I like Sergius more is because then you got that infinite loop of attack gauge. So that is why I put her as good. I'm not putting her S tier, not putting her triple S tier, because she does require not just her. She needs to be set up to get the most benefit out of her. But what she does is she gets you that, especially in arena, she gets that huge initial jump. If you can get your Morgan to go off first and reduce the enemy's attack meter, because then she immediately follows up and charges their attack meter again. And since she can supply all the speed, you can gear your Betty for no speed, just damage, and he can just nuke the team before they go. All right? You see this big grin on my face? So if you ever hear someone say Clarissa sucks, no. She only gets better. She only gets better at endgame when you realize that what's a healer? A healer who? Healer what? No, you don't need healers. But she's only good because, again, her on her standing alone as a standalone hero, she doesn't do enough damage. And given that she's giving, buffs to the team, she's not a good standalone hero. So she's only just good. All right, now I added these 3 on here, so we're going to talk about Fire Lance, but we could just put Ice Lance, Frost Lance, next to Fire Lance. Fire Lance, or all Lancelots are going to be good in arena because of the speed lead. Fire Lance, because he does dots. You can go watch Loki's video of him paired with Rosie. They can clear every dungeon in the game just on dot damage alone. But the reason why Ice Lance, I would put Ice Lance second to Fire Lance, because what Ice Lance does is on his S3, he freezes the whole team. So if you got him lead and you can get out, say your Morgan on an arena team, reduces turn meter, and then he comes and does his S3, freezes the whole team. Now they just lost a turn. So Ice Lance is really, really good, but I would say Ice Lance is strictly a PvP team. But since he still comes with that attack speed lead, he's kind of still a PvP team. But I'm going to put him up in S tier because he's an end game PvP player. Again, argue with me if he should be down here because, I kind of just made an argument why maybe he should just be good, but or just okay, but I'm going to put him up here. Cormac, Frost Cormac. So Frost Cormac, you build him up. He has to be ice. He has to be fire or ice. You don't get him in ice. You're going to have to get his ice weapon. Ice Cormac can just level a whole team. Go find videos. I know Stu Gaming has a really good one out there. You do need a lot of skill ups to go into his S3 on his ice relic though. But he can just clear the board. I've seen uses of him in Endgame Arena. I've seen uses of him in Fire Dragon. I've seen, Favor Dungeon, Story, everywhere. Ice Cormac. If you have to do one of those story missions, if you want to 3-star it and it requires you to use 2 ice heroes, and you don't have Ice Morgan, but you got Ice Bedivere, so you can pair Ice Bedivere with Ice Cormac, beat it in under 20 turns, collect 3 stars, move on. He deserves his S tier just because he is a tank. He's a defense hero, but he just has such huge high damage output. It's nuts. His multipliers are crazy. So that's all I'll say about him for now. Kay is just a damage god, and since I'm going to kind of give her a little bit of a brownie point or a bonus point, like Turin, being that she's so free to play accessible. She's going to carry free to play through your first month of this game easily. And since her basic is a 5-hitter, I still use her on my Penvid 10 clear team, my speed clear team. So I'm not going to, I don't have the praises to sing like Clarissa, but I think she's better than Clarissa because she can stand alone. Her damage is beholden to none but herself. So everything that she does good on her own. She's not really about helping the rest of her allies. She's just about, hey, I'm going to go kill that thing on my own because I'm a boss babe. So Wind Relic, K, definitely, I think, deserves S tier. Fire Relic, Rosie, you're going to have to build her 2 ways. You can build her in a damage set, pure damage build, and she can just wreck hard. She's got a 5-hitter, so she can be your free-to-play Penvid clear or Penvid 10 team. But you're going to need her in Vigor. Her paired with Fire Lancelot can destroy all the content in the game. I recommend go checking out Loki's video on that. I can't do that. It requires a lot of investment. But like Kay, she is just a monster damage dealer. And bleeds are really strong in this game, which she's a bleed queen. Bleed queen. She's a bleed queen. I won't say anymore. Fire Lancelot, I kind of already gave his spiel in the Ice Lancelot. So again, he's a dot hero. He is not an attacker. He's a controller. His ice, you can use him in Gorgos teams. You can use him anywhere as a damage dealer. His dots are really powerful, like I said. His dots also come with detrimental effects that he puts on enemies. He's a speed lead. All high-end arena teams are probably going to run him or Rosie as their speed lead in order to get ahead of the opponent. I'm going to put him in S tier. Is there an argument for him to move down to good and not S? Maybe. But he does good things. So he's going to stay in S tier for now. Ice Merlin, a lot of you are probably not going to like him being a tier down from Triple S. But really, it's Fire Merlin. You'd get that. That's a cheat code. That's a cheat code in Red Dragon. That's a cheat code in Tarask 10, Red Dragon 10. Fire Merlin is twice as good as Ice Merlin. That kind of made me think I had to put Ice Merlin one tier down because he's a controller. He's more about his S3 freezing enemies. Now, again, Ice Merlin can also be a key to defeating Gorgos all the way up through 1 through 10. So he does have some endgame dungeon viability. He is going to be a mainstay in your whole Forbidden Dungeon? Yeah, Forbidden Dungeon run all the way from level 1 through 93, 97. So he's definitely good. He's good. He's better than good. He's S tier. But when he misses his S3, you kind of go, what? Well, crap. Oh, well, I guess that was a waste. Whereas Fire Merlin, none of it's a waste. So I couldn't in good conscience make him God tier Triple S in Ice. But he's up there in Fire. Frost Gillian. Now, Gillian is a healer. She does good single target heals. Frost Gillian, though, I would put ahead of Fire Gillian. I should really move these two around. In fact, let's just do that right now. So I would probably go something like... if I was going to redo this, I would probably go something like this. Because Ice Gillian can do everything that Fire Gillian can do, but better, because then she becomes an AoE healer and not just a single target healer. But she heals the team. She reduces attack gauge. She reduces enemy attack gauge. She boosts your ally attack gauge. You get her. She's the best support healer in the game. But Ice Gillian is better, but you're going to have to get lucky pulling that ice weapon. Fire. I made a whole video about Fire Sergius. Fire Relic Sergius. He's a cheat code. He breaks the game in a lot of places. It shouldn't be allowed. Most mobile games, if they see an infinite loop, they'll remove it, they'll pull it, they'll nerf it. It's not quite an infinite loop because he's only charging 60% attack gauge and it's on a high cost. So you don't do it every turn, but it's just by the time he runs out of steam, you got it in the bag. I don't know if I can say anything else about him. No attack, though. He loses all damage capability because all you're going to be doing is spamming that S3. But it's just ungodly. It's ungodly. And then Morgan. Really, Morgan. You can make an argument for Morgan being the best hero in the game because her Ice Relic on her S2 will remove turn meter for the first time on a cooldown. But then it removes strips buffs. It puts defense down, which allows your attackers just to smack. Fire Morgan apparently is probably the best because of that over and over and over gauge AoE attack gauge just strip. So she's the queen of PvP. She is the queen of PvP. She is the number one most important character in the game for PvP. I could say she's the most important character in the game for PvE content as well. There are going to be some dungeons you don't use her, but she's going to be in almost every single one of them in one of her relics. And then Bedivere. Oh, Bedivere. Bedivere, he's broken. He's just broken. He is the number one best DPS in the game, which is why he gets the number one top spot on this list. Because whether you need to control something, heal something, buff something, debuff something, if you don't have the hammer behind the shield or the sword behind the shield that actually kills stuff, you're not going to win. And Bedivere kills stuff more than and better than and faster than anybody in the game currently. And that's enough said. So I'm 50 minutes in. I really want to wrap this up because if you've made it to the end of this video, I should be sending you money. I'm not going to, but I should be because that is a long, long watch. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this one up right there. I did tell you that I will show you why. These other ones are over here. Oh, stop, Merlin, stay there. Okay, so I said the other relics were, and the other heroes were other places. There's all these ones under the not used column. And then I did create a trash column because these heroes in all relics have zero other than this guy and this guy in an adventure fight chest, zero use in this game. Which is why they're all here. But I didn't put in the uncommons and the commons that don't have any use case on here because that's just pointless. Just assume they're trash. So if you don't see someone on this list, they're trash and they don't even deserve to be mentioned. But yeah, all of these ones, like you're only ever going to use Wind Accolon and you're only ever going to use Frost Cormac. You're only ever going to use Wind. Like you get the point. So that is why they're on not used, but you can't see them because I have them just off panel. This tier list is on its own tab in my Master King Arthur spreadsheet, which is linked in the description of this video. Okay, this is going to be a 55-minute video. I want more. I'm going to try to wrap this up really quickly. I want more supporters because I want to beat other content creators. That's a competition that I do. So please go support me, not someone else. Just because I will send you the things. I've sent out everyone that's been my supporter up till now. I've sent you out your prizes. So go to the supporter page and claim them from wherever you claim them on my profile. There's a new mission that just went up today. I already submitted it, so I'm going to have more stuff to give you from that mission. So again, come support me. I will do the missions every time, and I won't slack, and I'll get you stuff as quick as possible. 2, I'm just good. I'm cool. You should like me anyway. The word of the day is tier list. No, not tier list. That's too easy. The word of the day is penguin. Because I want to make it something random. Put penguin down in the comment section below. That'll let me know that you watched 55 minutes of me rambling. I will catch you in the next one, ladies and gentlemen. Cheers, peace, bye-bye.